Every year, thousands of students search for a place to stay, but very few understand the system that decides where they get accommodated. Welcome to Student Accommodation Podcast. I'm your host, Dunusi Wedi, widely known as Striker. Today's guest is none other than former NSFAS spokesperson and former board member, and is the current CEO of PSHA, Private Student Housing Association. Kagisho, welcome. Tell us more about yourself and what you do at PSHA.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us. I think it's the first time I hear someone introducing me as a former board member of NSFAS. I would love to be, but I worked as a spokesperson for NSFAS, and I was in the management team of NSFAS for almost 10 years. I have not worked at the board level yet. Okay. So hopefully, as you predict, maybe I'll be a board member soon.
No problem.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of the former board members. But today's conversation really it's in regarding the 2026 rate. You know, the discussion today will be about why hasn't the rate been discussed and why is there delays in the rate. Disclaimer. This is an important disclaimer. This podcast is not a political platform. We are not here to campaign, defend institutions, or attack government. The Student Accommodation Podcast is an engagement and a solution hub, a space where students, parents, providers, institutions, and policymakers can come together, share perspectives, and work towards a better, more practical outcome for student living in South Africa. This is about clarity, accountability, and collaboration. Has there been any formal communication in regarding the 2026 NSFAS rate?
There hasn't been any formal communication regarding the 2026 rate. When I say formal, I mean to inform landlords. But
Correct.
What we have seen is NSFAS addressing the media and having a paragraph around student accommodation that we are doing our own determination, and we will ensure that we release the rate as soon as their own internal review is completed, obviously aligned with the national treasury or the national budget priorities. I mean, it's a story which we don't understand, and we don't know why it has to happen year in and year out.
And why then is the rate then determined while the academic year is in progress? Why isn't then being done in pre-advance? Maybe why, as an NSFAS told us the year for 2026 and 2025, why is the delay?
Well, I can't speak of NSFAS.
Yes.
I can't speak for NSFAS, you know.
Yes.
I wish I could. I mean, I spoke for them for 9 years. And in that 9 years, when I spoke for them, we knew how rate is being, planned. In fact, if I remember correctly, before fees must fall, students will know, even landlords will know, by October, November,
yes,
what the money are they going to get
for the following year.
Yes. So if it was possible then,
yes,
what makes it not to be possible now? So we can look at who was probably leading NSFAS at the time. Right? Universities know as well that they can only accommodate a certain number of students per year, but they also plan in the next 3 to 5 years. Correct. They have projections of how they plan to take more students. So it will be disingenuous for anyone to suggest that we cannot announce the rate because we do not know how many students are going to be enrolled, We don't know what Treasury is going to give us, because if you understand how government plans on over MTF period, medium expenditure framework, period. And in that period, it means universities projects their enrollment target over a 3-year to 5-year period, like I said. The Department of Higher Education takes the enrollment of universities as projected, and then make their own budget and say, in the next 3 or 5 years, this is how your budget is going to be increased. That's why the department is always forcing universities to stick to the enrollment plans. So why will NSFAS plan to pay for more students when universities are
already budgeted
for a certain number of students? So to answer your question, NSFAS utilizes the same information that comes from universities and the department in terms of enrollment plans to make their own projections.
So, and they can predetermine that.
They know the numbers, that this year they cannot take more than what universities are taking. And there's a threshold for the universities. They also don't have a bottomless intake approach.
Has the current NSFAS rate, which is the 2025 rate of 5.2, affected electricity tariffs, backup water, increased municipality rate, utilities, securities, compliance costs, and as well as the minimum norms and standard for building new accommodation? Is it a sustainable rate?
Well, we don't think NSFAS rate is sustainable. It has never been sustainable since I think 2000 or 2001 when a cap was introduced. 2001. Right. So before a cap was introduced, universities would charge their own residential amount for students, and private landlords were told they cannot charge more than what the university charges. Meaning, if the university charges 100,000 for a private residence, for on-campus residence, we are only limited to that. And when we build this private student accommodation, back then, before 2021, landlords, developers got into an agreement with universities which they are building for. Right? Because by implication, a private residence is an extension of on-campus beds. Right? It doesn't help for private developers to build thousands of beds when university has on-campus capacity. It doesn't make sense. So those developers, especially our members, mobilize more than 20 billion rands to build more than 80,000 beds. That is before 2021. And that model was based on the university bed supply. Right? So NSFAS, whoever was leading NSFAS in 2021, came. We don't know where that person came from. But that person said, together with the board, they said, look, we are spending 14 billion on student accommodation. Therefore, we must have a say in student accommodation. From a layman, that makes sense. But NSFAS mandate is not to manage properties. Is to disperse, identify. In fact, you develop criteria for dispersing students, for students who qualify, right? And what we have seen is that NSFAS, before the student accommodation, they've started with the book allowance, for example. The book allowance was limited. You could only use the book allowance at a certain bookstores. You remember that time?
I remember that time,
And that backfired because students stood outside bookshops and they sold their vouchers. Right? I think it was called SPACs at the time. Very bad system. It didn't work. But the people who were running SPACs, probably it was a good business for them. But for the student, it wasn't a good business. And then it was discontinued, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying with that is that NSFAS almost tried with SPACs to determine where students must shop. They were at the edge of wanting to own supermarkets, NSFAS, because they were giving more money of allowances, right?
Yeah.
It didn't work. Then they almost owned bookstores.
Yes.
It didn't work, and now they want to own property.
And it's not going to work.
SASAS doesn't. It's not going to work. So NSFAS does not have a rental determination formula that takes into consideration the issues you raised. The issue of electricity, the issue of increasing fuel, diesel does increase, so transport will have to increase. The issue of utilities, issue of security services, we have to make sure we put in CCTV cameras. We need to make sure that there are security personnel on the premises. Those people are employees. They must get their increase. We cannot increase if NSFAS does not increase. So this used to be possible before 2021. But after 2021, with the person who was leading NSFAS at the time, with little knowledge of property management, the person said there's a cap of 40-something thousand. So which meant that a room which was available at 60,000 was now available at 40,000 or 42,000. So since then, accommodation providers have been on a back foot. And obviously, PSHA last year started making noise. I mean, I joined PSHA in 2024. And the first thing we wanted to do was to sit down with NSFAS. And we were very clear that the rate must increase. And through those engagements, for the first time in 3 years, the rate increased by 4%.
Which was last year.
Which was last year. And if you remember how that 4% was announced, today there's no statement of announcement of 4%. Because the minister, together with the administrator of the time, went to do interviews at SABC. They ask questions here, you answer. Then they go to another station next door, and they say 4%. We couldn't challenge them. What contributes to 4%? For me, it proved that indeed they are thumb-sucking the number.
It leads me to my next question. I mean, that has NSFAS collectively engaged or did industry consultation? I mean, you did mention that last year PSHA did then engage with NSFAS for the rate. Is it happening in 2026? And if not, and why only PSHA? Are there other formations that are coming on board in collaboration and discussing this NSFAS rate at the moment?
Well, we appreciate that NSFAS did meet with us, right? They agreed something the first week of December. We took them through a rate determination process that we have developed internally as the Private Student Housing Association. But if we did not do that, they were not going to come. So, and to your point, they've never went to any other association or any other landlords. Why? Why should they do it? They don't care. Why they don't care? Because no one is going to challenge them in what they do. Maybe PSHA, maybe PSHA is the only association that will take them on. So therefore, to manage us, they must come and have those discussions with us. But what have they led to? That was December last year. We have not received any feedback from them. We have written letters to them and asking them. They've only responded just now. But to answer your question, we don't believe that NSFAS has a strategy of engaging landlords. In fact, if NSFAS had a choice, it would not engage landlords.
Because is it not part of the mandate?
Well, it's part of their mandate to engage all the stakeholders, but it's not in their mandate to run student accommodation. In fact, by not engaging landlords transparently and openly, it proves the point that actually universities are better positioned to manage student accommodation, which is what we are pushing for as an association. NSFAS must leave this student accommodation thing and just give it back to the people who know it.
Which are the universities?
Which are the universities?
Okay.
With their own
Administration
challenges. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any formal study conducted on the NSFAS rate? Is it available to the public, or is it only available to yourself, PSHA, or NSFAS?
We have done a study that looks at the 2022, 2023, and actually it's 2022, 2023, and 2024.
Yes.
Operating expenses of running a student accommodation. And we look at municipal costs, right? So in municipal costs, you look at everything: electricity, water. And then we also looked at other services.
Yes.
We call them contracted services,
Yep.
right? So there's security, staff personnel, all those.
With that case study, so there is a formula available that NSFAS then can determine the rate for the year, because every year CPI, your municipality tariffs, they can just put into a formula and say this year we're predicting the rate to be this much.
Yes.
It shouldn't delay.
It shouldn't delay. Actually, with that, you can just, if you just look at escalation costs every year, you can determine in the next 3 years what the rental should be. That's what NSFAS should be doing, so that landlords should know that if rate is increased, it will fall within this
bracket. Yes. And what can accommodation providers get involved in the future rate discussion? Because I'm seeing that a lot of people are getting left behind, and with a lot of people being left behind, the sector that gets left behind, there's a lot of uncertainty, and we almost into March and we still yet don't know what the rate is. We don't know what we're going to put in the contracts. Landlords are going to put in the contracts. We don't know what we're going to charge students, and not touching that, but we'll touch it on a latest topic, which is the top up. So what can other formations or providers do to actually get on board with the rate discussions?
I think the rate discussions should happen with universities.
Okay.
USAF. Universities South Africa, which is a body of vice chancellors.
Yes.
Yeah. I think USAF is better positioned to coordinate any conversation around
rate increases
and the student accommodation.
But what we've seen with USAF, certain universities were advanced rate increases. I know Pretoria University and certain universities in the country, but it wasn't a blanket approach to all universities. So we're a bit of sketching there to see if it was applied throughout the whole country. And as well, when the Treasury applies that percentage, they then allow the universities to do that, but they leave accommodation providers on the outside, and they also play a safe net approach to say NSFAS hasn't announced, so we'll still have to wait for them. Why does that happen?
Yeah, that's why we must choose a better devil. And we think USAF is to NSFAS, right?
NSFAS, yes.
I think there's nothing wrong in, as an association, engaging USAF around what our thoughts are on the rent increase. But I think the conversation with NSFAS has been exhausted. We have realized NSFAS has no capacity, has no interest, and does not know what it's doing. I think it's overwhelmed. So to expect to be on the same table with them, when we were with them, by the way, in 2024, we served. In fact, you and I served on a committee of NSFAS, NSFAS Rental Determination Committee, and the other one on the Student Accommodation Committee. What happened to those reports? We don't know. We did the reports, we spent weeks and months into it, and they took the reports and then just disappeared into thin air.
So those reports were never made public, and that's the reason why we're here today. Because previously we've discussed at an NSFAS level, we've had meetings, we've discussed with that sector, but nothing gets done.
Exactly.
And there needs to be change.
So NSFAS cannot be trusted, in simple words. Right. So I think that we must engage USAF, then we must engage the Minister of Finance, together with the Minister of Higher Education and Training. I doubt the Minister of Higher Education and Training has a close monitoring on the NSFAS pass. I doubt. But I mean, he's got the acting chair now, and obviously the NSFAS board is in the balance. We don't know whether it will stay or it will go.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
chances are, the whole thing that is happening at NSFAS shows that there is still continuous revolving door. Every
Yes,
2 years, there's
yes.
a new leadership at NSFAS. So I think,
And we keep doing one thing over and over,
Yes.
and expecting different
so I
results.
think
yeah.
the only solution is for the accommodation providers, the associations,
Shins.
right,
Yeah.
to engage with yourself, to engage with the minister and the minister of finance, not to be called after they've engaged with the student leaders and others, and they say, oh, by the way, they are landlords, let's call them in here when they've
Correct.
decided. No,
Yes. Yes.
I think we are happy to submit. We don't want to run institutions.
Yes.
We're not interested in how universities are being run,
Yes.
right? And
A friend of mine once said, universities are
Mm.
there to teach, accommodation providers to house,
yes,
and NSFAS is to fund. And with that said, there are many associations and association providers in the country. What collaboration, or do you see enough transformation and inclusivity in the transformation sector within accommodation providers?
you know, when you talk accommodation
Yes.
providing association and you talk transformation,
Sure.
I could only think of newly established associations.
Which are the
you
newly
know,
established associations?
that wants to bring in transformation. But be that as it may,
Yes. But I mean, what is your view
yes.
in about transformation in the sector? That's all.
Well, transformation is quite broad in the sector, depending
Yes.
on where you look at it, right?
Okay.
I remember when I joined PSHA, a lot of people used to say, "Oh, your association."
And that is the reason why I'm asking the question, so that maybe you explain and you give more details that PSHA is actually a more diverse
yeah,
association than it is perceived to be
Yeah.
in the sector.
I mean, it was perceived as a, white association,
Yes.
and people didn't understand that majority of the owners of PSHA beds is actually government,
Yes.
through government pension fund and through PIC, through the UIF. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Correct.
So they see you being the leader of this property, and they think, oh, they're empowering you. But I think the investors of student accommodation in this country should, and that's where I would want to start the conversation around transformation,
Transformation. Yeah.
should look at funding even more young and black and previously disadvantaged people into the market. I think when these 80,000 beds or more were built back then, it wasn't focused more on black owned.
Yes.
But I think there's an opportunity now. So I think investors should invest more into black providers. Yeah.
Yeah. And due to the rate not yet being announced formally, I mean, not that we have it informally anyway, would the sector get to a time where accommodation providers want to exit from the system, where they then reserve or remove NSFAS beds in the market? Would we get to that position in the near future?
Yes, in fact, we are almost there. Because by NSFAS announcing that it will allow universities to take over, it means there's no role for NSFAS in student accommodation. There shouldn't be, except to disperse the amount to the universities. In fact, 90% of our members who have signed leases or contracts with universities are not owed any cent. And the 10% that are being owed, they've signed with NSFAS. And NSFAS never paid that money. And we have recently learned that NSFAS has paid it to one company, which is currently struggling. And that company did not pay landlords, but they kept the money since 2024.
Is that other entity you're talking about, the solution providers
Yes, the
that
solution
NSFAS
yes.
introduced with the Call and
Yes.
Call pilot project?
Yes.
So you're saying that majority of your members are housing students at university level and you with the university accredited system.
Yes.
It's only where some members then are having issues with the solution partners on not getting their monies. Is that the reason why NSFAS has taken the direction to pay landlords directly this year? And how's that going to work?
If they really believe what they said.
That's why I was going to ask, because now they said they're going to be paying.
Probably in hindsight, they say, oh, we wish we shouldn't have announced that.
Yes.
Because they announced it, but they never informed the solution partners ahead of the announcement. I mean, we work with solution partners.
Correct.
They told us, we don't know. Maybe it's true they don't know, or maybe they know, they are just playing us. So either way, we're played by solution partners, by NSFAS. So the reality of the matter here is NSFAS announcement,
Yes.
we believe that is not an honest announcement.
Yes.
Because NSFAS did not tell us a deadline
Yeah.
by which the solution partners will close shop. As we speak, solution partners are still continuing business as usual. Yes.
Are you saying solution partners are going to close shop? Is the contract?
They should close shop.
They should. And why?
They should. They are charging us 5% for what?
Okay. Yes.
I mean, we heard, by the way, we heard that the 5% they are taking from the students, by the way, this is, people don't know this. They are not taking it from NSFAS. They are taking that 5% from the students. No, from the students.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
NSFAS pays 5,200 to the solution partner.
Correct.
The solution partner takes 5% and gives me, the landlord, the rest of
difference,
the money.
yes.
So who took the money?
That's the solution partners.
And they took the money from who? From the students.
It's from the students.
So why is the solution partner deducting the allowance?
Yes.
Why is NSFAS not paying the solution partner for the work they do? And they pay the separately.
Yes,
and pay the landlord the money they deserve. And
but NSFAS has mentioned that they will pay landlords directly. Does that mean that they're scrapping the 5%?
We don't know what they mean, and I don't think they know what they mean.
Okay.
because being paid by
Yes.
a university, we are not paying us directly.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And paying us through the solution partners is not paying us directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top-ups. We're going to touch on that. And why are top-ups applicable to some service providers in the sector? You should know that certain providers, I mean, I think there's a war where some service providers are then charging top-ups, some are not.
Yes.
And why is the reason for that?
It should be that way, actually. It will be
Yes.
unfair for
Yeah.
everyone to charge top-up. There has to be competition
Okay.
in the market, because
Yes.
we are not offering the same standards of beds and the
Beds.
quality of beds, right? So
Yeah.
if I offer a single room only, or a bachelor only that has a bathroom, has got a kitchen,
Yes.
right, and has got a fridge and has got curtain. I mentioned curtain deliberately because some landlords don't put curtains. Students bring curtains to their
Living
so,
rooms.
So
yes,
if
yes.
I put curtain, I put a study table, I put a study lamp, I put a notice board, I put a
to comply with the minimum norms and standards. I mean,
yes.
it's a
and
huge list.
add an
Yes.
air fryer for the students, or microwave in their bachelor or in their single room, and a heater. Why must I have that room the same rate
As
someone, you know, excuse this example, for someone with a commune,
No, 100%.
you know,
yes,
at
yes.
UJ,
Yes.
for example, right? It can't be. Because what the implications of that is, if you are a commune owner,
Yes.
you're going to lose that student because he's going to come to my one bed because
Yes.
it's the same rate. They will never choose you if
Because
they are getting what I'm giving them at the same rate that you're
Correct.
getting.
Correct.
So it's important for competition,
in
right?
the market.
And yes, students have a freedom of choice to then allow students to select rooms that suits their preferences.
Yes.
So a student must say, well, I don't want to stay in a place where I'm sharing a fridge with 4 people. I won't know who moved my cheese.
Yes.
Right? So I want my own, I want to lock everything. Therefore,
Yes.
I'm prepared to pay 2,000 more than
Yes. A normal commune.
a normal commune.
Yes.
So a top-up has to be allowed for certain providers of beds who offer more quality beds than the standards.
Yes.
Usually people who offer this kind of beds, they should qualify for a grade A+ grade.
Yeah.
They have everything. I mean, they have tennis courts on the roof of the residences. They've got swimming pools.
Yes.
I mean, some of them even have bicycles for the students to take from the residence to cycle to class.
Yes. Speaking about competition, is it feasible for more student accommodation to be built nationally due to the competition that you just mentioned now, because it's freedom of choice? Because some landlords have said, yes, I've got a property and I'm struggling to fill it in. What is the point of having more beds in surplus in the market, whereas some of the members or providers are not filling them?
Well, it's feasible. NSFAS needs to step up.
Yes.
I mean, otherwise you will have landlords downgrading their services and thinking that is okay to have a low grade standard because we want to meet the NSFAS. I mean, if you build according to the 5,200 of NSFAS today, and you build a room that is even lower than NSFAS rate today, and then next year NSFAS rate goes to 70,000, you will not have anyone in your residence.
Yes, because they're gonna go to the
move. Yes. So we have to, as developers and property providers, we have to follow the norms and standards of government. That's why as PSHA we took the norms and standard, then we costed them. We did a viability gap.
Yes.
And the gap between delivering the norms and standards and the rate that NSFAS gives is between 15 to 18% difference. And at the moment, that 15 to 18% must be absorbed by the student.
Why is it that on-campus accommodation fees are higher than off-campus accommodation in some instances? Maybe Cape Town or Stellenbosch University, you'd find that on-campus fees are more higher than it is off-campus fees. And how do we find the gap?
Well, I don't know how universities charge their residences. All I know is that we offer the best. Ours are even better than. I don't know. Do you know a res on campus that has a pool on the rooftop? Just mention one residence,
But I think universities know, and not
on
that
campus,
I know of,
yes.
but I mean, universities have different amenities on campus.
Of
They will
course.
probably have a swimming pool, a running a track, a soccer field, and so.
I want to answer your question.
Okay.
But I want to say to you.
Yes.
Do you know any residence on campus that has its own dedicated gym?
No.
Right?
Yes.
They all go on campus gym.
Yes, correct.
Right? Do you know any residence on campus that has got a dedicated prayer room for Muslim students and other religious beliefs?
No.
Yes. Do you know any residence that has got its own dedicated health worker, a counselor, a wellness officer, or they go to the campus clinic?
But are you allowed as accommodation providers to come inspect on-campus accommodation?
No, we are not allowed.
But I'm saying the way you're saying is
yes.
that do they have? Because I mean,
no, they don't have.
Okay,
I mean, the answer I'm expecting from you is no. And because
not that I know of. Correct.
Right.
Yes.
The answer should be no, because
Yes.
our answer to these questions as
Yes.
private accommodation providers,
Yes.
it's a yes. And therefore, we can charge more than on-campus residences. So we don't understand why universities are charging more than we do, right?
Yes.
Well, we don't know. And
Correct.
some of those residences were there even before we were born, and they are still being charged,
Yes.
Yeah.
because then on-campus residences are charged the rate that top-ups would be similar charged to. So if it was allowed, then top-ups wouldn't be a problem in the industry because universities are already doing it.
Yes. In fact, let's even do another example. Do you know when the showers are not working on university residences,
Okay.
they can take 7 days to be fixed or more? In fact, do you know that some showers on campus don't even have the shower curtain?
No, I don't know.
Yes, I know because I visited some.
Okay.
Right? Yes, because I do have kids that are at varsity,
Yes,
right?
correct.
But with us, we have maintenance guys 24/7. When a student's door is broken, we fix it immediately. When a shower has a leak, we fix it immediately. In the private student accommodation, that complies with the norms and standards. Therefore, when we are asking for an increase, this is not for profit. The increase helps us to maintain the services we offer to students.
Yeah.
If there's no increase of 6%, the chances that you're going to see is that our properties are going to be the same one as on campus.
Correct.
You know, the dustbin will be removed every 2 weeks. You know, the showers will not have the curtains,
and
you know, etc.,
yeah.
etc. Because we can't afford this service. In fact, students will have to take taxis from our residences to campus. We can't offer them transport anymore because transport costs have gone up. I mean, why taxis always put up a notice that
the increase
the
in
increase
5 rand, 10
yes,
rand,
5
yes.
rand, 10 rand, yes.
Yes, and accommodation providers can't.
Yes, why we
Yes.
can't do that?
Yes.
So it's ridiculous. Really, it's unacceptable, and for a better word, it's a poor leadership
Yes.
from the current NSFAS leadership.
If you had it your way, what would be the actual rate for 2026? And to build according to the minimum norms and standard, what would the rate be?
Yeah. So we did a study
Yes.
called the viability gap study between PSHA and the Department of Higher Education and Training. In fact, let me put it this way: the department was consulting on the norms and standards.
Correct.
We submitted our
Recommendations.
but we said, why are we doing this exercise if at the end of the day we won't have the
Output.
yes. So we then agreed to do two models of the high-rise building and low-rise building.
Yes.
And that's what put us at 66,000 rands per annum if you meet the standards. Of course, you can still grade B, C, D,
Correct.
then you can
Then it
fall
goes.
less,
Yes.
right? But if you have built according to the norms and standards, it should be 66,000. So if I have to have it my way, it will be let's implement the norms and standards together with the cost structure.
Yes.
Let's not allow NSFAS, because we don't know who's going to lead NSFAS tomorrow.
Correct.
You know,
And
you get what I'm saying?
Yes,
We don't know who's going to lead NSFAS tomorrow. So
You might just come back to NSFAS.
no, I'll never go back to NSFAS. Trust me.
Why
that
not?
I'm saying it on record. I have no interest in going to NSFAS. I'm happy with the changes that I'm doing in
Yes.
the private sector.
Sector.
But I'm also happy with the fact that since my leadership at PSHA, we have managed to work with
Yes.
the department. I mean, this viability gap
Yes.
tells us that we are starting somewhere.
Yes.
So the department can say, yes, norms and standards, and anyone who builds must be paid at 66. Then
Yes.
NSFAS can say, no, we're going to pay 67
Yes.
or 68, but they can never go below that.
Okay. Here's my opinion. I think 66, due to the delays and them not announcing and whatever reasons they have, we probably would not get to the 66, but maybe somewhere between 8 to 10% on the current rate, which will then take us, to, if I've got the proper maths, to 5.8, 5.9. That's my opinion. Do you think, will that be a step in the right direction to say yes, but then what do we then need to do for next year to then plan for more planned discussions and collaborations so that we don't find ourselves where we are today next year again?
You see, there's nothing wrong in announcing a 5% increase or 2% increase
Okay.
if you make some concessions and you agree where you're going to solve some of the issues. For example, 30% to 40% goes to municipalities.
Yeah.
Now, what stops NSFAS from engaging with SALGA and COPTA,
Correct.
with us, and address the issue of rates and taxes at municipalities? Nothing. You know, universities pay less rate for education. So why can't landlords be also put in that space?
Yeah.
The second issue is
yeah.
the transport.
Transport, yeah.
Why should NSFAS can keep their rate as is, but they must pay transport separate to the students and not come from the landlord?
Landlords, yes.
So all I'm saying is that we need to be on the same table. We can make some concessions, right?
Okay.
We know, we suspect that the department might recommend 5.7%.
Okay.
We have read it in the newspapers,
Okay.
but they've never explained why is
How
it
they got it.
5.7, why is
Yes.
it not 5.6?
Yes.
No one explained every digit,
And how they came
how
to
they
that.
came to it.
Yes.
So we would like to see, when the minister announces, explain where every cent
goes to.
goes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I doubt we'll be hopeful.
All right. Thank you, Kagisho. What would you like to say to our members and viewers at home, just in closing, on about the rate?
Well,
What should they look forward to?
I'm gonna answer your question in two. So
Okay.
I'm gonna take the first part. I think on the rate, what they should expect is that landlords are committed to improve the quality of the students' stay and the student life, right? So landlords will not kick out students if students are committed to work with landlords.
Correct.
And committed, I mean to be honest. A student who does not have NSFAS should be honest, they don't have NSFAS. Right? A student who suddenly gets NSFAS when they entered our premises without NSFAS, they should be honest and tell us.
Yes.
We have students that move out
Yeah.
and don't let us know. And
Yes.
NSFAS end up not paying us. So it's a big problem. So we want students and parents to know that we will do the best we can to keep them comfortable, but we want them to be as honest as they can be.
Thank you.
Know? And maybe the other part which I need to mention, obviously, it's at the end of this discussion, is that we, as Private Student Housing Association, were established in 2019.
Okay.
And when we were established, of course, we were established by a group of companies which are very big in terms of student accommodation, the likes of South Point, Res Publica, and I think at the time CITIC, which is now CITIC.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it's Growth Point as well.
Yes. In fact, Growth Point came very late into the play.
Okay.
But what happened at the time was Finstra Group.
Correct.
Finstra Group, yes. So what happened is that these landlords did not have a way of engaging with government, and government was not listening to them. In fact, NSFAS was arrogant and didn't see the need to engage with landlords. So the landlords came together and said, let's come up with something. So we were established to advocate for the rights of landlords, but to also ensure that we start working with our partners, NSFAS and the department and other landlords. So that's why we do research. So in our research is to improve our engagement with the department. With NSFAS, we collaborate. We don't just only do that, but also we are improving the lives of students in our residences. We offer activities in our residences. I mean, for example, one residence owner has got enough residences to such an extent that there is a competition amongst the residences.
Okay.
You know, this residents go and play soccer with that one. You know, and money is poured into those facilities. I mean, all our residences have got libraries. Students don't have, or study areas. Students don't have to go to on campus to study. Right? We've got counseling on our residence. We can see students who are suicidal, who have been abused, and we can intervene. We do write off as well a lot of off debt where students realize that they are not able to pay, and this is because of either NSFAS dropped them or for the circumstances which are
beyond control.
So we exist just to formalize the sector, We do work with other associations.
Correct.
We work very closely with the Association of Communes in
Yes.
UJ.
Yes.
You know, they are our favorite. We also work with the association in Mpumalanga Masa.
NASA.
The association in Kabeja is called Residence Owners Association.
Okay.
And the one in KZN, KwaZulu-Natal Private Housing SHA.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
So we do try our all best to do that,
Yes.
and to collectively.
And in Northwest as well, Faslan.
Yes, in Northwest as well.
Yeah.
And collectively, our members own more than 80,000. I think this year, by the end of this year, will be around 120,000
Beds.
Yeah,
Nationally.
because nationally. We are at all universities, we are at selected TVET colleges, and we are membership based. So
Yes.
members of PSHA pay a rate so that we can do the work for them.
I know we've had discussions before, and just to close it off, the Vice Chancellor tour that PSHA conducted last year, how
Yeah.
did that go? Just in closing, thank you.
It went very well. We
Yes.
realized actually institutions are suffocating.
Okay.
There are certain things they can't say
Publicly, correct.
but it also makes us realize that if we had come closer to the institutions, we would have resolved this issue of student accommodation
Before.
crisis
Yes.
longer.
The
So
crisis, yeah.
we also learning that institutions wants to build their own in-house capacity.
Capacity. Okay.
And I think PSHA can play a role in assisting those universities to mobilize resources and investment to build more capacity on campus.
Yeah.
We have we're supposed to do another follow-up this year.
Yeah.
We stopped it because
Okay.
we don't want to do it alone. We
Correct.
want to do it with other partners.
And stakeholders.
Yes, because
Yes.
we have met the vice chancellors before, so they know us. So we know what their problems were last
Correct.
year. So now when we go, we
It's
kind of
solutions driven
solution
and
driven,
yes. All right. There you have it. Thank you, Kagisho, and thank you to our listeners. That's all we have for today, and thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Student Accommodation Podcast.